come from the bottom. Yeah. Oh God, I ain't never had shit. I come from the bottom. Oh God, I ain't never had shit. Look at me now. I almost gave up 1,000 times. I did, yeah. I was robbing Peter trying to pay Paul. Yeah, feeling like my back against the wall. But I made it through it all. Yeah, counting me out, but you should've known when I needed you. Left me for dead. Sent a text, but you left me on red. Yeah, I know what it is, I know what it ain't. Hey, it's for all them niggas who told me I can't. Listen, I come from the bottom. Yeah, oh God. Yeah, I ain't never had shit. I come from the bottom. Oh God, yeah, I ain't never had shit. Look at me now, I almost gave up 1,000 times. I did in a minute since I've been in it. Shit go way back to elementary. Remember singing in my graduation. I believe I can fly. Almost let the devil steal my dreams like a thief in the night, yeah. But look at me now, yeah, yeah. I've been working, I've been putting it down. I done came a long, long way. I jumped in a whole nother lane. I come from the bottom, oh God. I ain't never had shit, I come from the bottom, yeah. I ain't never had shit. Look at me now, I almost gave up 1,000 times. I did, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yo, Halito. Let me mic check. Y'all gotta excuse me, man. My internet is so garbage, man. My internet is garbage. And I apologize for that. I'm waiting for Miss Shine to come through. Break room, what up? I hope y'all can hear me, man. Hold on, let me. I'm trying to do yeah, give me a second. I'm just trying to make sure I'm good over here, man, because my internet is garbage. Mic check. Why don't I hear? Why don't I hear you? Hold on 1 second, y'all. Why don't I hear? Mic check. So check this out, y'all. Miss Shine, if you in here, I dropped the link in the chat. I'm trying to figure out why I don't hear y'all. I don't hear nothing. Let me come out and try to come back in, y'all, because I don't hear nothing on my end. Let me try to come back in. trying again. I don't know why I don't hear theme. Mic check, 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 mic check. Hold on 1 second, y'all.
Try Jesus. Try Jesus, not me. Cause I throw hands.
Dreams big, yeah.
Try Jesus, please don't try me. Cause I fight. I know what it said about getting slapped. But if you touch me on mine, we gon' have to scrap. So, try Jesus, please don't try me. Cause I fight. I have no problem laying these hands. Try Jesus, don't try me. Cause I throw hands. Try Jesus, please don't try me. Cause I fight. What you said, turn the other cheek.
Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic
Just
check.
don't sit around with me. So try Jesus, please don't try me.
Mic check, mic check.
Cause I fight. I have no problem laying these hands.
All right. Let me take him off the screen. Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Mic check, mic check. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Mic check, mic check. Miss Shine, what's good? What's good? What's good? Are you able to hear me?
We can do that. Can you hear me?
Okay, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
Great.
Okay. This is gonna be a quick little live. This is gonna be a quick little live because I know Miss Shine and TC, my sister TC, I believe they're going live at 3, and plus I got to get out of here for work anyway. But so Miss Shine sent me this video earlier that I wanted to take a look at real quick, and it's T.I., Charlamagn the guy. I believe I saw Killer Mike, and I believe I saw 5 Mikes in this video, and they were all discussing religion. But first, before we get into that, Miss Shine, how you doing? How you feeling? What's going on?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm tired, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I like this video you sent me. I saw a little bit of it and I stopped it. because I wanted to I wanted to look at it live, right? Because yesterday you and I had a conversation along these lines about what we're about to see. And then right after I got off the phone with you, I had a conversation with an old friend of mine that I haven't talked to in years and years. And we found each other on social media. And me and him got to talking yesterday, and we got into this same conversation yesterday. Okay. So the conversation we were having was dealing with the belief in God and religions and things like that. So if you know anything about myself, you know I'm a non-believer in religions, and I do not believe in the existence of a God or any gods. And Miss Shine, I will let you state your own position because I don't want to misrepresent anyone's position when it comes to their faith, their religion, or whatever. So I'll let you state it on your own what your position is when it comes to a believer or non-believer. Um,
I do, as of today, I am a believer. I just don't believe in the words of the Bible. There's a lot of inconsistencies in the Bible in which I question. Um, so that's what a lot of that clip is about. It's not about questioning the existence of God, but it is questioning the representation of Him, because a lot of the stuff in the Bible is very inconsistent.
Okay, y'all bear with me, man, because on my end, it's very choppy. Even listening to Miss Shine, it's very choppy, but it seems to be as it's coming through social media or whatever, it is coming through clear. So bear with me on my end. It sounds very choppy. So let me say this when it comes to, many of you have been following me, so y'all know where I stand on a lot of this. A lot of this is, I feel like, when it comes to that Bible, when it comes to the Bible, I started questioning that Bible because, I just refuse to believe that this is the word of a God. This is, and I am speaking on my opinion. I am speaking on my opinion as a non-believer due to, the things I question. I do not believe that this book is the word of any God. I believe this book is man-made, just like every other book of religion. It's a man-made, created book about God. I don't believe this is God writing these, telling anybody to write these words. I believe these are human beings writing these words, telling us about a God. Okay. There's too many mistakes in these books, in this literature, for a God who knows everything to be making inside of these books. So now you are starting to see a lot of people question this book. My thing is, I don't believe a God would tell anybody to write anything in a book. I just don't. I just don't. I don't believe this all-knowing God who would know that humans would take this book to manipulate people how they want to manipulate people in bad ways, and they use His word to do it. I don't believe a God would allow this to happen. Or we also had this conversation that what if this book was created on purpose in order for those of us, and let me be careful how I'm saying this, in order for those of us to, in order for us to use the brain we have inside of the head
Sorry.
to use the tools that come with that brain. Um, what if religion and these books and these religions and stuff was actually put here purposely? Let's say God did put it here. What if it was put here purposely for us to use the tools we have in our brain to think, to critically think, to believe, to use reason, to to figure things out the same way we do every day to navigate in everyday life, not just belief. What if this book was put here for us to use our brains to figure out who the snakes are, who the con artists are, who the evil people are, using this book to manipulate the masses? What if that's a possibility? I told Miss Shine yesterday, I don't think, though I don't believe in the existence of a God, I don't think if I had to stand before a God for Judgment Day, I don't think a God who created me with a brain to think and figure things out would be upset with me for using my brain to figure out that people are interpreting this book how they want to interpret it. There are 1,000,001 different versions of the way humans are interpreting things in their mind, although the book itself tells you, do not lean to your own understanding. It says that inside of that book. It also says inside of that book, no man is to add to or take away from this word, but people do it all the time. So, which tells me that people don't fear this God. They don't fear him. People do what they want to do, and they manipulate people. I just refuse to believe that a God that created this intelligently designed universe and created our intelligently designed bodies would dumb himself down to the point that he would put his word that is so important to everyone's life inside of a book, a book, a book, a book that can be changed, tampered with, and played with. So before we get into this video, Miss Sean, let me ask you, and I don't know if you stated it or not, but you sent me this video, and I know you probably saw it all the way through. I haven't seen it all the way through. When you heard this video, what was it that caught your attention in the video? Was it the questioning of the Bible?
It was the way that it was worded. I've never heard I I would guess a celebrity of our generation or whatever stated the way he stated it, and it made me believe that a lot more people feel the same way. They just don't speak out and say anything about it. But um there's a lot of the non-believers don't believe that there is an existence of God, or there's no proof of a God himself, versus other people do believe in the existence of God, but don't believe in the representation that the Bible has of him, and has manipulated it, um, to make it convenient for them, to make it enough to where it's controlling the masses, it's controlling everybody, and blah, blah, blah. I believe that if God is a God of love and God is a God of, wanting us to do the right thing, that some things in the Bible don't represent that. So I find it hard to believe that. And like I said, this is just me trying to find answers. I just don't think that a God of love would have several people writing something 10 different ways, because that confuses the masses. That confuses people. So I mean, but that's only for people who actually go in and read the Bible, try to understand the verses and so forth. It wouldn't mean anything if you're not a person who reads the Bible. So that's my opinion.
Nah, I got you. I got you. Y'all bear with me, man. I'm trying to put some headphones in because I can't it's choppy on my end. So I'm gonna get into this video, right? Cuz, what up? What up? What up? What up, cuz? I'm gonna get into this video, okay? Again, my you know, y'all, I'm not trying to tell I'm honestly not trying to tell anyone what to believe at this point in time. Because I do understand I do understand that many of us grew up believing this, you know, these things, and it's hard to let it go because it was passed down so long to us. You feel what I'm saying? It was passed down so long to us. One thing I want people to understand is, and I think you're going to hear it in this video, there's nothing you can prove, nothing you can actually prove when it comes to these religions. None of them, not any of them at all. It's all about a belief. That's what religion is. It's a belief. It's just a belief. All right. Now, and I shouldn't say it's just a belief. All I'm saying is, even if you look up the definition of religion, it's going to tell you it's a belief. All right. Which means if you go look up what a belief is, there's no facts to back up the belief. It's just a belief. And you have every right to believe. Okay, so let me get this video started because I know I got to get out of here. Let me get this video started and I'll kind of show y'all what I mean. In this video. So let me get the video up. Give me 1 second. Let's go. Let's get into this video. Miss Sean, if
should
it's
fear their earthly masters.
if it's something you want me to stop so you can reply to, let me know. All right. So we're about to crank it up. Let's go. Let's hear what they're talking about. Okay.
Earthly, it's their slaves should fear their earthly masters.
Well, we know that was
and
edited.
respect them.
You know, some lines got a little edited.
Let me stop right there automatically, instantly. So what Charlamagne the God came in saying was he didn't like inside of the Bible where it says that slaves obey your earthly masters and fear them as you would Christ. That's one thing I didn't like either. I didn't like that either. And this is again when I say this is a book written by human beings created in order to control the masses. Okay, so inside of that book, and it's crazy because when I tell people that's inside of that book, people don't even know. A lot of people don't even know that's in that book, where it tells the slave, obey your earthly masters and fear your master, your earthly master, as you would this Christ that you believe in. I find that I've always found that to be a problem. But that verse is definitely in your book. Now, because people are now questioning that book, they're now changing the words in different versions. Now, remember, you're not supposed to touch God's word, but people touch God's word all the time. I have a problem with that because if you can change this and you can change that, then how do I know what God really said? You feel what I'm saying? If you're telling me this is an inspired word by God, how do you get up in that pulpit and factually tell me that God said this? You can't. Nobody has ever proved that a God ever told anybody to write anything in these literatures. But People will tell you that this is the word of God, but they can't prove to you with facts that a God ever spoke a word to anybody. But what we can prove is that human beings actually wrote this book, and it's telling you what a God said. Let's go.
Fuck with the
King
Bible
James.
all the way.
Yeah.
Because now don't get me wrong, I believe in God.
Me
I know
too.
God is real. Religion is bullshit.
Miss Sean, you want to jump in here? Yeah, anything you want to jump in real
That
quick?
I have the same sentiments as him. God is real. I don't believe in religion. Religion has too many rules that you have to follow. And when I feel like when religion has rules, that's when they try to implement fear. So if you don't follow a certain rule, you have a consequence, which I think that is supposed to implement fear in people. But of course, as you can see, it really doesn't, because people say and do and hurt people every single day. So obviously they don't have too much of a fear. So obviously that concept didn't work.
All right.
So
now
yeah.
let me give my thoughts on that comment. God is real. Religion is bullshit, is what he said. All right. So many of y'all ask, how did I get to this point that I'm at where I do not believe in the existence of a God or any gods? All right. Come on, cuz. Come on, cuz. How did I get to a point where I don't believe in the existence of a God? So I went through my stages where I went through and I said, how do I even know I'm following the right religion? Like, how do I know that? Everybody, there's 1,000,001 religions out here. Who's to say I'm following the right one? What if I'm following the right one? Nobody can tell me that I'm following the right or wrong religion that's going to get me into some place called heaven, or it may send me to some place called hell. Neither place I can prove actually exists in reality. You know what I'm saying? Or in the afterlife. Neither place I can prove. Nobody has ever proven either of these places exists. Yet I live in fear every day of both of these places that I learned about through this book, through this human man-made book. Nobody has ever gone, no loved one has ever gone to heaven, came back, yep, heaven exists, or hey man, I'm down here in hell, man, and I hate it down here, or I love it down here. Nobody has ever proven either one of these places exists, yet we are taught to live in fear of these places. And again, this goes back to me saying it's all a belief. You believe a heaven exists. You believe a hell exists. You believe a God exists. But none of this has ever been factually proven. And I'm going to tell you how I know. In your book, if you believe the book tells you that no man has ever seen God's face. So, with that being said, if you have never seen God's face, then how do you know that you are encountering a God or God when you hear this voice that you speak to, or you say this God did it? If you can't even acknowledge this guy and it's what it is, how do you know you're not talking to a demon portraying itself to be a God? Whatever a demon is, whatever that is. I'm just saying, I'm just taking you to where God is real, religion is bullshit. I agree with religion is bullshit because it's man-made by human beings. It's man-made to control people's minds. Okay, this is my opinion. Man-made to control people's minds. And then when he says God is real, I got to a point in my life where I said, all right, forget religion. But everybody believes in God, right? I can't go wrong with God, right? So I got to a point where I stopped believing in religion and I just said, God is real. Well, when it comes to God, I got to a point as I continue to look at what goes on out here in everyday life, I started having to question God. I started having to question the existence of God, because if you tell me God is good all the time, and I'm looking out here and I'm looking at us being mistreated, and God says he is with us all. God continuously says, I'm with all of you, which means I'm with the good people and I'm with the bad people also. And we're watching things happen in everyday life that don't add up to what we were taught growing up in the churches. I start to question God's existence. Not saying God ain't real. I'm not saying there is no God. I said I don't believe in the existence of a God. But if one does exist, if there is one up there that exists, or wherever it's at, or wherever they're at, or wherever he or she resides, whatever this God is, I'm just asking, what does God do? What is God's purpose? You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of things that go on in this world, and it seems like God picks and chooses who he helps or who it doesn't help. God picks and chooses a lot of things, just in my opinion. Just in my opinion. All right. So when people say it's not about religion, it's about a relationship. It's not about religion, it's about a relationship. And I have to ask, what makes your relationship with this God more better than this person's relationship with this God? What made this God decide to show up for your personal need and ignore this person's prayer for the world? Like, and this person claims to have a relationship with God also. You're praying for something minor and personal in your personal life, and God showed up to help you. But this person claims to have a relationship with God over here, and this person has prayed to God to help end world hunger, to help sickness, to end crime, to end evil, and God ignores this person in their relationship, or these people in their relationship, but make sure that whatever you were praying for in your selfish prayer request, your personal prayer request, God seemed to show up for your personal prayer request. But when these people over here in their relationship with God, they come out and they pray to end world hunger. They pray to end evil and crime in their communities. God seems to ignore those people. But he always seems to show up for your personal prayer request. So when you say God is real, in my opinion, you know, if God is real and there is a God sitting there, I think this God might not be the best God. I would just have questions for this God if this God is real.
Well, let me say this one thing. So, again, we have our differences in the existence. So what I'm going to say is, you have expectations. These expectations that you're speaking of are based on what is taught in the Bible. So when people come out and say that, you pray to God because you want him to do this, you want him to do that, he should be doing this, and does he pick and choose who he blesses, who he doesn't, or whatever, those come from expectations that were taught from the Bible. So if you are going off of the Bible, then those are things that you are going to expect because those are things that were implemented in the Bible. And that is why I say, because these things are not happening in this order or whatever, that is why I question the Bible. So again, I'm not saying God, because maybe God doesn't do that.
I
Maybe
agree.
if there is an existence of God, maybe that's not what he does.
I
And
agree.
people have misrepresented him. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I say I question the Bible, but I haven't got to the point where I question him because maybe he's just being misrepresented through the Bible. So these expectations are coming because of the Bible.
Gotcha. And this is why I say I personally don't believe in the existence of a God. But if there is, this is why I don't say there is no God. Because maybe there is, and I think, Sean, I said this yesterday to you. Let's just say maybe there is a God or some gods up there. But what if their job is not to intervene within? Their job is just simply to create and destroy, create and destroy, create and destroy. It doesn't talk to you. This God doesn't answer no prayers. It doesn't tell you right from doesn't mean with anything. This is the purpose of these guys. So this is why I don't say there is no God. Maybe it's just not this God's purpose to do what humans wrote inside this book and said this God does. Or because once again, we don't even know if God speaks or these guys speak. We don't know what they do. We don't know if there are millions of gods where this God does this and moves on. This guy does this and moves on. The next guy, we don't know if there's a masculine God and there's a feminine God. We don't know if there's a man and a female God that goes together. We don't know. All we know is what some human beings wrote in a book and told us to believe, and we believe it with no evidence to back it up. We just believe it. All right. So when you tell me God is real, I don't know God to be real. I just don't. I know what I've been taught to believe. I know what somebody taught me to believe, that this thing called a God exists and it's real. I've never seen a God. I've never seen a devil. All I know is what I've been taught to believe. And I've been taught to live in fear all my life behind a thing called a God and a thing called a devil. Neither one of them I've ever seen in my life. In my lifetime, I've never seen either one of them. And again, this goes back to a belief system. These gods, these devils, I learned about through a thing called religion. I'm gonna let them keep going though.
Yeah, totally.
In the Bible, there are so many inconsistencies, and that's the reason why. And I believe Jesus, I believe he walked the earth. I believe he was a great man.
Yeah, like
Let me stop there. Do you guys see what I mean? You can't prove any of this that he's saying. This is the reason he's saying, I believe. I believe. I believe. Why doesn't he know? Why can't we know? Why can't we know if Jesus was actually here? Why can't we know? Why won't God show us that Jesus was actually here? Why can't we know? Everything about religion is belief. You have every right to believe whatever you want to believe. Some people believe monkeys fly. They have every right to believe that monkeys fly. Some people believe the donkey story in that book where it says a donkey talked. We've never seen a donkey talk ever in life, except for on Shrek or cartoon. But we have some people who actually believe that a donkey talk. We've never walked by a bush and heard a bush talking, okay? But we have people who actually believe bushes was talking in that book. We also have people who believe in magical virgin births. I don't believe in magical virgin. People who believe in that book that a virgin had a baby. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay,
And they
can I say one thing?
go ahead.
Okay, so if you rewind it back and pay attention to what he said, he
Okay.
said, I believe Jesus was a great man that walked the earth. He didn't say God. He said he believed that Jesus was a great man that
Okay.
walked the earth.
Okay.
So, you know, I mean, I guess that's why you have to pay attention to what somebody's saying, even if he's saying, hey, I don't believe, but he's saying, hey, it could have been, I believe it was a great man, just like Martin Luther King was a great man that walked the earth. Like Malcolm X could be you could believe that Malcolm X was a great man. He doesn't classify Jesus as a God. He said man. And in the Bible, it does not classify Jesus as a man.
Okay. And at the same time, we can't even prove Jesus ever existed. So he's saying whether he believed Jesus was a man or a God. The point I'm making is we can't even prove Jesus ever existed in life, ever in history. And we can't prove this guy named Jesus ever walked this earth. I believe he's a God,
Okay.
a man, a spirit, or whatever.
I can challenge you on that.
Okay.
Okay, so if we say that, we can say he never met Jesus. There might be other people that have. He never met Jesus. I've never met Martin Luther King. How do I know he existed? I never met Malcolm X. How do I know he existed? There's a lot of people that I've never met just because you put them on TV or something like that. I mean, they had Jesus, they have him as a man walking. I mean, there's pictures of him. The same evidence that you have that Martin Luther King walked the earth, the same evidence that you have that Jesus was here. Same evidence.
Hold on, wait a
Pictures,
minute.
talking.
Wait a minute. You said there's pictures of Jesus?
Alleged pictures.
Huh?
Everybody has their own pictures.
So who do we like? If everybody has their own pictures, how do we know who this Jesus guy is? So which Jesus is we talking about then? Because there's many pictures.
I'm just saying there's photos. Let me say photos. There's photos.
There's drawings. There are drawings. There are drawings of people. We've seen Malcolm X. We've seen him in the flesh. Like people have actually seen him. He actually has family members. He actually has a lineage that leads back to him. Martin Luther King, there are actual people attached to him through bloodline. We've seen his children. We know he exists. We know he did exist. Who do we attach Jesus to?
I don't know. Whoever's his bloodline, I don't know.
Who is that? Who would that be? Who is it? I don't know either.
I don't know.
So
I'm just saying it's the same type of evidence. That's all I'm saying.
Not really. No, it's not. Because there were actual people who actually walked and marched with Martin Luther King and Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. There were some of our own bloodline actually stood next to this man. These people ate food with these people, lived with these people. Who do we know from Jesus' family that still exists today that we can trace back to Jesus? Is all I'm saying. This is why he has to say, I believe. I believe. We don't have to believe Martin Luther King ever existed. We don't have to believe Malcolm X ever existed. There's proof. There are evidence. We can go pull up their bones, a gravesite that shows evidence that this person actually existed at one point in time. All we're going off of from this book is something somebody wrote in a book and told us to believe about some guy named Jesus. And this is why, again, T.I. has to say, I believe, because he doesn't know. There's no proof of evidence that shows that this man was ever here. There's no evidence that anybody in that book was ever here in reality. It's just something somebody wrote and told us to believe. You good? Okay, I don't know if you're talking or not, but okay. I'm gonna keep going. So again, notice he has to say, I believe Jesus was a good man that walked the earth. I believe. Notice he has to keep another point. If you go on any of those tours, where they take you to Jesus' supposedly gravesite and all of this, the tomb he was supposed to have walked out, go pull up any of those tours. You can find them on YouTube and listen when the people are giving the tours. You will always hear them say, it is believed that this is the tomb where Jesus It is believed that this is the crown Jesus wore on his head. It has been said. It is believed. It's nothing that's going to say factual. They are very careful to use those type of words when it comes to religion. It is believed. It has been said, because there is no proof, no evidence of anything when it comes to religion.
A great man.
Yeah, like Martin Luther King Jr.
The earth, I believe he was in the Bible, there are so many inconsistencies, and that's the reason why. And I believe Jesus, I believe he walked the earth. I believe he was a great man.
Yeah, like Martin Luther King Jr. or Elijah Muhammad or Malcolm
He's
X.
a little more better than
He's
that.
better than that. I think he's better than that. I even go with the man with, I won't go without sin, the man with the least sin. That's what I would go with.
We don't know what him and Mary Magdalene was doing.
I don't even.
And a man that can turn water into wine want to party. Okay, that I know.
I will say this.
A man turning water into wine, like they, mentioned in the Bible. Many times you'll hear me say the Bible is a grown-up fairy tale book to me. It's a grown-up fairy tale book full of magical virgin births, donkeys talking, magical bushes talking, dudes moonwalking on the top of water, turning water into wine, fishing, feeding 5,000 people with 2 loaves of bread and 5 fish, or 5 fish and 2 loaves of bread. I mean, it's a whole lot of magical stuff going on inside of this book. You've been raising people from the dead. I mean, it's a whole lot of magical things going on in this book that nobody has ever proved to ever happen. Nobody has ever proven it. It's just a bunch of extraordinary claims that never been proven. Never been proven. Now, you have every right to believe it or not, because some people may believe Dorothy clipped her heels 3 times and magically went back to Kansas too. They can't prove that either. But somebody somewhere believes that happened. Somebody somewhere believes in Peter Pan and Tinkerbell too. And they have every right to believe in Peter Pan and Tinkerbell too. They have every right. The same way they can't prove Harry Potter, it's the same way we can't prove anything from this Bible.
The myth of Jesus, though, the story points have been duplicated throughout in different civilizations.
Yes.
in 1400s, 1500s. Like there are different, I guess, people who were born. They say on December 25th. Who were born Immaculate Conception to a virgin, who died on the cross and was resurrected on the third day. All of
facts, T.I. Facts. This is something I try to tell people. This Jesus story is a recycled story from different religions. Jesus is the baby of all of these guys. Jesus is the new guy on the scene. He's the new guy. Jesus is the new guy. This Jesus story has been told over and over and over and over again in different religions. Many different religions. You can go pull up a video called Zeitgeist. A video called Zeitgeist. And they will run you down how many times these stories, thank you, thanks, cuz this Jesus story has been told over long before Jesus came on the scene. This Jesus story, the born on the 25th day and the Immaculate Conception, the 12 disciples walking on the water, this story has been told millions and millions and millions of years prior. New Jesus story that we believe in now. Just different people's names, just different names and different religions. But the stories are damn near identical. Jesus is the latest, newest story. He's the new kid on the block of religion. He's the new kid. But the Jesus story is not a new story. There are many stories. This Jesus story has been told long before Christianity. So T.I. is definitely right about that.
the different points of Jesus' stories have they've been also associated with other people in history.
I agree with that. But I'm gonna tell you this about Jesus. He's the most famous one.
What do you mean
Famous
most famous?
There we go. This is why Jesus is the newest kid on the block, and he's the most famous one at this point. He's the new guy. He's the new, this Jesus story, he's the new guy, and he's the most famous right now. He's the hottest. You feel me? He's the new rapper on top right now. Sean, did you want to jump in? Is there something you wanted to say?
No.
So these are facts, though. This is a fact of what I'm saying. This Jesus story is not new. Like, it's not new. And like Five Mike said, he's the most famous right now. Hey. So a lot of people are gravitating to the new kid on the block. He's the hot rapper right now. I'm feeling this new rapper. Never mind the old school dude who was saying these same rhymes, back in the day. This new guy, I like this new guy, That's what it is. So I would have to ask, why do you follow Jesus? And there were people long before him with this same story. Is it just because it sounds better now or what? I don't know. Like, why do you believe it? Like, so.
Who gives a damn about fame?
No, I'm just saying.
Talking about
More famous what,
about the Messiah. We're talking about the Messiah.
I'm going with the most popular Messiah. That's what I'm trying to say.
Damn. Now, I haven't even watched this part. I'm just telling you. I just said that right before he said it. I'm going with the most popular. I'm going with the most popular Jesus story right now. Not that I believe it. Not that listen, because if I was going to believe it, I could believe all the other ones that came before him. But I'm going with the most popular. He the hot one right now.
If I dig up somebody
Messiah.
How many Messiahs do you know, Five?
Jesus has more followers on Instagram.
That's it. Jesus has more followers on Instagram right now. I'm rocking with the hot dude, the hot guy story right now. I don't want to hear the old cats. I'm rocking with the hot dude.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
get the
And
hell
God
outta here,
don't like
man.
God don't like somebody who want to be so smart and go back to 1,300 billion. He don't. It say that in the Bible. Like, don't be that guy.
The wildest thing
You know what
about
I'm
Jesus
saying?
to me is I don't know how Jesus became God over God. Like
See, that's the thing, because
I don't understand
wait
that.
a minute now. This is the thing, because another inconsistency in the Bible, it says, our God is a jealous God.
That's right.
You can't serve two masters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so if God is a jealous God, but Christianity is say the only way to God is through Jesus.
Yes.
See, that's a contradiction. I don't get it. You serving two
Yeah.
masters.
Are people saying Jesus?
No, the only way to the Father. Oh, yeah, okay. So he did say right. The only way to the Father is through the Son. So, listen, man. Here we go. This is where religion comes into however you decide to interpret it. Because you have some people who believe God and Jesus are the same. You have some people who don't believe God and Jesus are the same. You have some people who believe Jesus was just because there's other religions who mention Jesus too, but they don't look at Jesus as a God. They don't acknowledge him as a God or a prophet. You feel what I'm saying? But then you have Christianity who looks at Jesus, for some people, as also God. This all comes down to how you decide to interpret God's word. And I just don't feel like a God would put you in that position to where you have to listen to somebody else's interpretation, listen to this person's interpretation, then try to figure out your interpretation. And the book also tells you, lean not to your own understanding. So sounds like a bunch of confusion to me.
Jesus is God. Like
They're
I
confused.
thought God was the
They're
Father, Jesus
confused.
was the Son.
If you're a scumbag, you can use and pray in Jesus' name. You see what I'm trying to say?
What does that mean?
I never
pray in
understood
Jesus'
that.
That means
name?
that
How do
when
you
you
pray
go-
in Jesus' name?
Because I sinned, or whatever the case may be, I'm going to God. I'm not worthy. So therefore, before I pray, hey, Father God, I'm asking you this in Jesus' name.
Why can't I go right to
understand it, but
God?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. How do you pray in Jesus' name if you are serving God?
Jesus is the Son.
The Son.
Hey, y'all, this is exactly what I was just saying. I have not seen this video. This is just what I was just saying. It's all about how you interpret it, how you interpret this book. So just imagine how many people are interpreting this book, how they want to interpret this book, how they want to interpret it. Who's to say the way you're interpreting it is right? Who's to say the way they're interpreting it is wrong? This is what we deal with religion. Why would God put us in this position? They have to argue about how they're interpreting things. This is why I can't follow this stuff. It's man-made.
The Son.
I don't hold
When
on.
you want to
Let's
call,
go.
listen. When you want to talk,
I'm a God body. I don't want to start this.
But
like,
just wait a
bro.
minute, man. You asking questions, so you're gonna have to listen to the answers. Listen,
Oh, shit.
you
I would have loved to be sitting in this conversation.
can't step on my shoe and then say, "Hey, the money,
Exactly.
tell your dad I'm sorry."
Exactly. You got to tell
but
Tip
my
you
dad,
sorry.
but guess what you can say? Hey, the money I fucked up. Can you talk to your dad for me?
All right, you got a point 5. That's a good point.
You got a better relationship with him than me. Holla at him, see if you clean the slate. I'll be back tomorrow morning.
That's a good point.
Hey, man,
that is a good point.
I go for that.
But you still not putting Damani on the same level as
Hell no.
his father.
He's not.
But that's what they do with Jesus.
That's a mistake.
Yes, I agree.
Because of the,
I
propaganda.
mean, it's real. It's propaganda. To be honest with you, it's propaganda.
Bam. It's listen, this is our opinion. It's propaganda. I agree. I had to wake up. I personally, I can't tell you what to believe. I can't tell you what to feel. I had to personally wake up and realize this is propaganda. And yes, I don't think Christianity would have been so popular if it didn't come through them pushing it as slavery. They went around the world forcing people to believe in Christianity. They went around the world killing people, forcing them to believe in Christianity. All right. So no, I don't. I don't believe Christianity would be this popular if they didn't push it how they pushed it, in the manner that they pushed it in. I had to wake up myself and realize religion is simply propaganda, man. It's propaganda. Like it's propaganda. But you have every right to believe what you want to believe. Miss Shine, you good? Like, where you at on things? Keep going or what?
I'm just looking at the video.
Okay. Okay.
It's propaganda. To be honest with you, it's propaganda. Also, the Bible, it says that God's word is everlasting.
Yes.
God's word is everlasting. So if God's word is everlasting, then that means there's no ability, there's no opportunity to change any of these words.
Absolutely not.
In this Bible.
And that's the problem.
Okay, well, you do know that the Bible has been rewritten more times than
Yes, sir.
any other book.
Yes, sir.
Ever.
You got
And
Old
this is
Testament,
why-
New Testament, the
this is why
LeBron
you're
James
supposed to
version.
assess-
The LeBron James version.
Exactly. I can come out up with a version of the Bible tomorrow if I want to. People don't fear changing this so-called word of a God. Why are there so many versions of this book or these religions? It's because people are using it to control people, using it as manipulation. They're using it to control the masses. If God said, don't take from or add to my word, why are people doing it? And how do I know when you stand in that pulpit every Sunday and you preach to me from this book, Pastor? This book has been tampered with, Pastor. Like, this book has been created over and over. This version, that version, my version, your version, her version, his version. How do I know what is right? There's a million versions out here of what this person interpreted God to say, that person interpreted God to say, that person, come on, like, man, let me just live life, man. I think, again, I don't think a God would be upset with me standing at judgment day and I say, hey, God, listen, man, hey, I just didn't believe in you because there just wasn't enough evidence for me to believe you exist. I mean, come on, you can't hold that against me, God. You gave me a brain to think, and I was thinking. You gave me a brain to think, and I was thinking. You feel what I'm saying? You can't be mad at me. You can't give me the brain, and then I use the tools to say, hey, this stuff don't make sense. That's what you gave me a brain for, to make things make sense.
This is why you're supposed to figure it out yourself. Like, that's why God gives you your time to figure it out. Now, if you get caught up in the inconsistencies, that's on you. But there's more good than bad.
I agree. If you get caught up in the inconsistencies, hey, man, that's on you. I just noticed that there's inconsistencies, and I kept it moving. Because you're not going to tell me this is an all-knowing God making these kind of mistakes. I just refuse to believe that this is an all-knowing God that's telling people to write this stuff, and he's not going to make sure his word is right and exact. There wouldn't be all of these mistakes in this book. There wouldn't be all of these inconsistencies in this book. And I don't think we would have to interpret God's word. I think we would know what God's word meant, and it said, and it is what it is.
Okay, I do have something. Okay, isn't it a contradictory when you say don't get caught up on the inconsistencies when the inconsistencies is what have you at question? So how can you not stop and look at the inconsistencies when that's the exact thing that makes people question it?
No, no,
That's kind of a contradiction.
no. When I say don't get caught up on the inconsistencies, what I'm telling you is when I went through there and I saw all these inconsistencies, it opened my eyes. It opened my eyes. I just didn't, it allowed me to move away from this. I didn't stay caught up in it. Like I didn't stay stuck in there. And knowing I'm dealing with inconsistencies, and I stayed there. I saw something ain't right. Things ain't right. I noticed the inconsistencies, and I was like, "Yeah, y'all can have this. Y'all got it."
So if you are not only the Bible, so if you are in a situation or there's inconsistencies, um, you don't see clarity.
No, I can agree with that. I found clarity. So if it takes you, I get what you're saying. No, if you have to stay in there to examine them inconsistencies, you stay in there and examine them until you get clarity. Yeah. Because yeah, I had to do the same thing. And once I got my clarity, I mean, it's up to you when you get your clarity.
You mean it's up to me when I get it or when it's presented?
No, when you get it, I mean, because it can present itself, it's presented all the time. And for a lot of people, it still ain't clear to them. And it ain't clear to them. But when it was presented to me, that made me stay there and look. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I'm not feeling this. This ain't making sense to me. It's not, and inside of me, I got my clarity. Like, yeah, y'all can have this. I'm not living in fear. I'm not living in fear of this stuff. This book is full of inconsistencies. It's full of contradictions. This ain't no guide. So for me, spiritually, for me, I was good. Like I moved away.
So I get my question, I guess my confusion, not just with everything as a whole for non-believers, is what I feel. Now, this is just my opinion. I feel that you guys are proving or has been proving more so or moving toward the gear that the Bible is wrong.
Mhm.
Or the Bible, the things that in the Bible are questionable.
Mhm.
So therefore, I'm asking, when you guys decided that the Bible was wrong, that's when you decided that there was no God.
No.
So what was it that made you decide that there was no God? Was it because of the inconsistencies in the Bible or the inconsistencies in life, or what was it?
So again, like I can't speak for everybody and what it was for them. So for me, I can only speak for me. When I started to realize that there was many inconsistencies in this Bible, it didn't tell me there was no God. Like I just realized that this was man-made. This was man-made, and I couldn't prove a God said anything. Now, again, when it comes to my position, I don't say there is no God. I totally. So all I'm saying is, I just don't believe that a God exists. So if I can be proven wrong, I'm fine with being proven wrong. Okay. So you prove to me that this God does exist. But
So what you're
this
saying is
God,
the only evidence that you had prior to saying that you did not believe there was a God was the Bible. And when the Bible became inconsistent and when the Bible didn't prove up to, that's when you said, well, if the Bible, it doesn't, then I don't believe there is a God. That's what I'm asking, because
yes,
it sounds like the only evidence that you had or the only thing you could go by was the words in the Bible. So when you found out there was inconsistencies and stuff wasn't right, was that what led you to say, hey, I can't believe that this is the only proof that I went by. So since this proof is out the door, then there's no other proof that there is a God.
I wouldn't say the only evidence was the Bible, but I would say that's where I got my God concept from, was religion, was the Bible. That's where that's where I got the God concept from. But now, growing up, I believe that God created all of this stuff out here. But the more I got to digging into religions and this and that, I realized there's a creation story in every religion. And who's to say it was a God that created any of this? You feel what I'm saying? We could be a science project by aliens. You know what I'm saying? We could simply be a science project that aliens are sitting there watching us. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw the inconsistencies in the Bible, I got my God concept from the Bible. So
that's what I'm asking. If you got it from the Bible, is that where you lost it at as well?
I would have to say, yeah. I would have to say, yeah, because I got it from the Bible and I'm hearing the extraordinary claims of the Bible, of this, what this God is, but I never had any evidence that this God did any of this stuff or this God is what this book says. So yeah, probably is where I lost it at. Because after the Bible, then I went on to question more things. And it just wasn't adding up. It just wasn't adding up. So yeah, I would probably say that is where I lost my it was after though, because after I stopped following religion, I still believed in a God concept at that time. But that was still the residue of religion for me. That was still that little bit of what I was taught growing up about a God. So even when people ask me right now, like, do I believe in a higher power and the Most High and this, I don't believe in none of that. I don't believe in none of that because at the same time, everything that's happening with the people that believe in Jesus, the people that believe in the Most High, the people that believe in the Great Spirit, the Source, all of that. Everything that's happening with everybody's belief is still happening, and nobody's intervening. Not the higher power, not the Most High, nobody's God. Nobody's God is intervening. So
okay, I have another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you believe in the concept that there is a God within us? So I'll say that to say that God, you say let's take for example the whole situation with when you say we could have, as if we would have known this particular guy that was going to go to the church to unalive the little boys or whatever in that church a couple of weeks back, we would have, as humans or whoever, we would have intervened. Okay, so an individual God didn't do that. So maybe it was the God within us that would have done that. So do you believe there's not an individual God, but there is maybe a God within us? Because, and I'm just asking, I'm not saying I believe it, I'm asking you. Yeah. Like, do you think they say God, they define God as love, they define God as goodness. So is that, if you say that you have love and goodness in you, could it just be the God that lies within you? And when you do evil, when you do wrong, is that what they mean by the devil within you? Could that possibly? That's just a concept. I'm just talking off the top of my head. Could that be
No,
another way of looking at it?
that so when I try to relate to believers, that's exactly how I try to relate to them. Again, I don't believe in the existence of a God. So if I was going to entertain a God concept, and a lot of times it's what a believer believes in, right? Good is God, evil is the devil. I say my higher self, my higher consciousness. I say my lower self, my lower consciousness, devil, lower self, lower consciousness, Christ-like consciousness, love, peace, helping people would be my Christ-like consciousness. You feel what I'm saying? So I say, if I'm going to entertain a God concept, that's exactly what it would be. The God within me, within you. Again, as we were talking yesterday, we said, hey, had we known that this guy was on his way to go harm all of those children in that church, the higher self of us, the Christ-like consciousness of us would have told us to intervene to help others. So that would have been my higher consciousness, the God within, the Christ-like consciousness inside of me that would have made me want to intervene, that would have made you want to intervene. The lower self, the lower consciousness, your lower vibration would have said, oh, he's gonna go blow them up. Oh, I'm about to go watch him kill all of these people. I ain't intervening at all. If I'm going to entertain a God concept, that's exactly what it would be. It would be what's within me, what's within me, what's within you. You know, we can prove the things that we do. We can't prove anything outside of us. It's all a belief. Anything outside of us out there is a belief. It's a belief. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read what y'all saying. It would be that would be the God concept that I would entertain if I believed in a God concept. I just believe in being a good person in the world and helping people and not hurting people, and that's just what I believe. Good and evil, good and evil, good and evil. It doesn't have anything to do with a God or a devil, or a heaven or a hell. None of that. It doesn't have anything to do with any of that. It's just me being a good human being in the universe, or a bad human being in the universe. I don't think about a person going to heaven or a person going to hell behind you being a good person or a bad person in the universe.
When I speak to preachers and I say this, man, you know what I'm saying, I have a
They're
very hard
brainwashed.
time. I have a very hard time. I mean, when they're subscribing to a policy, I believe a lot of preachers are
Scamming.
very
That's what I
good. Well,
think.
wait a minute. I think a lot of them are good people. I think they really, really, really do believe.
They've been tricked. Or something.
They really do believe. They're just like, shit, some lawyers really believe in the legal system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Now, some police really believe in good police work. You dig what I'm saying? However, you do know that as history has shown us,
Ain't too much good police work going
you
on.
dig what I'm saying?
The biggest
Unless
problem,
they're looking for local drug
the
dealers.
biggest problem I got with Christianity, man, as long as you got black people worshiping a white Jesus, you will never ever truly rebel against your oppressors, because when you see them, you see God.
Mm, mm. That's kind of deep, and I believe that is why they created it. That's why they created it, again, to control the masses, to simply control the masses. So I just wanted to watch that video with you guys. I love having the religion talks. I really would have loved to been on that panel with them. I don't know if y'all remember, I got a video on YouTube where I sat there with 3 pastors. It was just me and 3 pastors. I think it's still on my channel, where I sat with 3 pastors. Some of them are still 2. I think 2 of them are still on my Facebook friends list on one of my pages. But when I left that conversation with those 3 pastors, when we got off the air, I remember the white pastor, he came and took a picture with me, and he said, you know, you really got me thinking. This is what the white pastor said to me as we were taking our photo. He said, you really got me thinking, you know, because what I had to get the white pastor to understand is, sir, everything you're saying to me right now, you can't prove none of that, what you're saying. It's just simply what you believe. It's just simply what you choose to believe. And we were on air. The video is still, I might play that video because I do have it on my page. It was me and 3 pastors on a radio show. And that white man said, it's all because of my faith. I said, I know. Where did you get that from? Somebody fed that to you. Somebody fed that to you. We were on the air, and he couldn't go no further than, it's my faith. It's just what I believe. I said, I know. That's what I've been telling you. There's nothing you're going to be able to prove to me. Nothing when it comes to religion. It's just what you believe, what you feel at the end of the day. But
Okay, I got
move
one
a
more thing.
non-believer.
Let me say
Mhm.
something to that real quick, and then I'm gonna be out. Okay, so do you see what you just said? You said there's nothing that you can do to make me believe that.
Okay.
Anything about religion. However, you're at the same time you're saying if you can provide proof, if you can provide proof, I'll believe it. If you can provide valid proof, but at the same time, you're saying there's nothing you can give me to. It's kind of like you're saying it's like you're saying, I just don't believe it because there's no evidence provided. But at the same time, you're saying no matter what you give me, I'm not going to believe it anyway.
No. Again, no, that's not true. Because again, I can be convinced if you can present the evidence. Just like, okay, so there's a video of Pastor G. This is what Pastor G asked me on my channel. Pastor G came on my panel and he asked me, Cali, if I prove to you that Jesus existed, would you believe that God, exists? This is what I told Pastor G. I said, sure, if you could present the evidence that God exists or whatever, I would believe you at that point. And I would simply say, well, hey, God, now that we know you exist, hey, have a seat. I have some questions now that we know you really do exist. So it's not saying that I wouldn't believe it anyway. I'm just telling you, I know there's nothing you can prove when it comes to religion. And this was a clear example of when I played the Arian Spears video of him talking to that pastor. And Arian Spears was bringing up all the things that we're dealing with in reality, in real life, real time. And all the pastor had to do was give me some feel good things, some regurgitated things. And he put that pastor in a very hot seat because the pastor couldn't provide any evidence of the stuff that he was saying back to Arian Spears. Because it's just what he believes. It's simply what the pastor believes. When he told Arian Spears, Well, no, we can't say that justice isn't being handled because, you know, just because we don't see it being handled doesn't mean it's not being handled. It doesn't mean it is being handled. It doesn't mean it is being handled either. It's just you believe that your God is going to take care of this, or you believe that in the afterlife they're going to get their just due, but we can't prove that. There's nothing we can prove from that. But we can
Okay.
prove that we actually saw some things happen in our face and there was nothing done or whatever, you know. Go ahead, Sean.
Okay. So we can both agree that pastors, preachers, and stuff that have crossed our paths are people just like us that were just brought up and taught to believe, right?
Right.
They were just taught to believe stuff. So they're just probably like us. They just have just chosen to take on a title and chosen to take on a teaching. So them, they 9 times out of 10 wouldn't have any evidence to produce to you. Just like I couldn't even, you know what I'm saying? They probably wouldn't have any evidence to produce to you because they learned it in the same manner that you learned it in. So would it be fair to say I believe that there is no evidence because there's no evidence that's been given to me thus far, but not say I know there's no evidence? Because I'm just saying hypothetical. Because could it possibly be evidence that you just haven't come across, or nobody's just presented it to you, or because there's a
Yes,
billion people in this world and you haven't met everybody, and
yes.
you know what I'm saying? So isn't it better to say, or wouldn't it be better to say that I don't believe that there's any evidence because nobody's been able to present me with any evidence, than to say I know there's no evidence?
Did I say that? I said I know there's no evidence.
Yes.
I said that. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, well, yeah, I misspoke then. Yeah, because I don't know there's no evidence. So you're right on that. I don't know there's no evidence. And yes, there's always a possibility. There's always a possibility out there. Um, yeah. So yeah, if I said I know, because no, I don't know. And you would have every right. You would have had at that point, you would have had every right to say to me, well, prove that you know that there's no evidence. You would have every right if you wanted to say that to me. And I would have had to present my evidence that I know that there's no proof out there when it's a fact that I don't know that there isn't any proof out there. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, if I said that, then yeah, I don't. There is definitely a possibility that there is plenty evidence out there, and nobody's presented it yet. You know, so yeah, you're right about that. Um, man, I was trying to get something, y'all. Give me 1 second. I wanted to pull something up right quick. Um, but yeah, I wanted to play that video. Me and Miss Shine and we have a lot of these issues, and I like to watch videos like this because I like to watch them as if this is me breaking down the video, like breaking down what they're saying. I like to watch these videos like that. You feel what I'm saying? Because I find them interesting. Because remember, I grew up all my life hearing these claims about these gods and what they can do and this and that. And then I look at reality and I'll be like, well, what's going on? What's going on, man? You feel what I'm saying? So I'm trying to find out what the name of that video is so y'all can go pull it up yourself. But yeah, it was I was invited onto a show by 3 pastors. I forgot their names, but I came on to their show. The other pastor who was the host of the show, yes, the other pastor who was the host of the show, his callers were calling in while we were live, and they were getting upset with him. They were getting upset with him because they were getting they were getting upset with him because they felt like he was just letting me talk, right? He wasn't combating me. Like he wasn't, and like he told them, hey, this is why a lot of these people don't like to talk, because people don't give them a floor to be heard, to be, understood. And I'm gonna tell you this: me and my father have some of the greatest conversations when it comes to religion. You feel what I'm saying? My dad actually took the time. Now, many of y'all remember that I stood in my dad's church when we were live on Facebook, when I told my dad I couldn't follow religion. I don't know if any of y'all are still in here from back then. That's how a lot of people found me, because we were on Facebook Live, and I was inside of my dad's church talking to my dad in front of his congregation, and I told him, yeah, I can't follow this. I can't follow this stuff, and I gave my reasons. But then me and my dad had our own one-on-one. Me and my dad actually talked about actually doing a sit down with me and him together, as a believer, as a preacher and a preacher's son, and talk about how I came to my conclusion of not wanting to follow religion, and my disbelief in the existence of a God and everything. When I talked to my dad, and some of my friends have even talked to my dad, some of my friends who are non-believers who have actually sat and talked to my dad. I believe we had a whole Zoom call one night. It was me, I think my sister DeWanda, my brother Eli. We had a great conversation with my dad. But one thing my dad told me is, now understand, okay, I get it. I get your viewpoint now. As where he didn't before, he didn't know my view and why I don't believe in any of this. And like I told my dad, it's just a belief, Dad. Like, I can't prove any of this, Dad. All I can prove is what I do in the world. All I can prove is nature. I can prove we deal with nature outside. I told my dad, I said, Dad, exactly, cuz. This is what I said about God, the God concept. What if God doesn't answer any prayers? That's not his job. Like, its job is just simply to create and destroy. It's not to answer any prayers. So I'm gonna ask this, how Miss Shine just asked me, right? How Miss Shine just asked me, is there a possibility that there is evidence out there? And I was able to clearly say, yes, there is a possibility. And if I said that I know that there's no evidence out there, I am wrong for saying that under my position, because I cannot prove that there is no evidence out there. So I'm going to say the same thing when it comes to the God concept. Is it a possibility? Is it a possibility that we've been lied to about what this God does and is supposed to do, or the expectations that we have on this God or these gods? Because is it a possibility that maybe all this God does is create and destroy? That's it. That's all. It doesn't do any of the things that people wrote in this man-made book. I'm just asking, is it a possibility? That's it. I'm not saying it's a fact. I'm not saying it's law. I'm just asking the same way. If I can say, yes, there's a possibility that there is more information out there that I probably have not ran across, can believers say the same thing? That is it a possibility that God ain't meant to do none of that stuff that you read in that manipulated book. Because we
I think
definitely see
that's fair to
creation,
say.
huh?
I said I think that's fair to say.
Yeah,
I think that's very fair to
we
say based on the fact of the inconsistencies in the Bible.
and then the fact that we know that humans wrote it. You know, I just sometimes I'll be like, at what point is you know, will God step up and speak for himself where we don't have to go through a middleman? Maybe God is not meant to step up and speak for himself. Maybe because that ain't what God does. Maybe God just creates and destroys and say, y'all figure it out. Y'all are here to figure out. Y'all have two whatever. Y'all figure it out. I don't know. It's just me. But Miss Shawn, this is how things happened with me. It was questions. It was questions. And I had to make stuff make sense to me, man. You know, I had to make things make sense to me. With that being said, y'all, I'm going to get ready to close this out because I'm getting ready to head over to Miss TC. She has a story she was telling me about yesterday, and I believe Miss Shawn is headed over there to join her on that panel. So I'm going to go over there and support my sister vibing with TC over there, and Miss Shawn also on their panel over there. So with that being said, y'all, I'm getting ready to close this out. Miss Shawn, do you have any last words? Is there anything? Let me ask you this before we go. How do you walk away from this conversation feeling? Was I too hard? I know you gonna tell me.
No, no. You stated how you felt about the video, broke it down exactly how there was nothing wrong with it. And like I said, I'm saying this as a believer, you know, I still have to ask the questions that I ask of you. You know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't be, you know, fair. Because I do say I'm still a believer. I just stand by the fact that I don't support the Bible as much because of all of the inconsistencies and stuff. But there's just not enough proof um to
For you
make
to
me
walk away.
not believe
Right.
that there is not you know, there's just not enough, not yet. I mean, there's just not enough, but there's enough to make me question the Bible. It's just not enough to make me question if there is a
And,
God
and
or not.
and you don't have to, I mean, use it for, listen, man, this is what I feel like. Use it for what you need it for. If you need, and I'm not talking about you, I'm not talking about you specifically, Shawn. I'm just saying if you need the Bible to help you navigate through life, to help you be a better person in life, by all means, you use that book. You stick with your God, you stick with this. I just don't like it being forced down our children's throat and making them live in fear, you know, of something that they can't
No,
prove
my
or
questions of the Bible was way before you came along. My questions of the
yeah,
Bible had
yeah,
something to do with my experience, my experiences in life with the Bible. So that's why I question the Bible. Not
I
because
got
of what somebody has, you know, not because of that. It's my own experience that makes me question the Bible.
you. Yeah. And I would say keep questioning because I didn't get here overnight. I didn't get here overnight. I tell this story all the time. I remember my home girl was on Facebook one day and she was going in about this stuff. The same thing I'm talking about right now. She was going in. It's very intelligent. And it was just when I saw her going in like that, I was like, oh, whoa, sis tripping. At that point in time, I wasn't ready to, look into the stuff she was talking about then. It took time. Like it took time for me. But the bad part about it is some people take it once they wake up out of it, it's a super shock to them. And some people really go through it. They go through it bad once they wake up from it. You feel what I'm saying? So You know, you got to move at your own pace, and you have to let your inside, your intuition guide you. You know, so well, Miss Shine. With that being said, I'm about to close out. We're going to head over there to my sister Vibing with TC, and I believe y'all are going to tackle a case that's going on out there in the community. I don't know. Do you know what the case is? Do you remember?
I do. I do.
So I think it's a sister named Remeka or something. A case about a sister named Remeka. What is it?
It's Romika Meeks, I think. I believe that's her name.
Okay, so they're getting ready to go tackle that topic over there on that panel, and I'm getting ready to go over there and join them. So you guys, y'all check out my sister Vibing with TC. Y'all like, share, subscribe. Y'all check out my lady Miss Shine. Y'all check her out over on her channel. Very positive influence in our community. Legal advice, real estate advice, covering trending topics. Y'all make sure y'all check her out too, Miss Shine. All right. So you want to say anything?
No, I appreciate you having me. And I can't see the chat. That's why I have not responded. But
yeah, I'm not looking at the chat either.
I will see you guys over on Miss TC's channel.
All right. All right, we headed over there. So y'all have a good day, man. I got to get out of here.
May you, yeah, prosper as your soul. May you, yeah, prosper as your soul prosper. May your heart forever be in posture to receive mercy, glory from above. May you prosper as your soul prosper. May your heart forever to receive mercy and glory from above. See, every day I will prosper. Every day I will prosper. Oh, watch out, I will prosper to receive mercy and glory from above. I will be successful and I will prosper. I will be successful and I will prosper. To receive mercy, glory from above. We want you to be in good health. We want you to be successful, yeah. Oh, be in good health, yeah. And receive mercy and glory, yeah, from above. And receive mercy, glory, yeah, mercy, yeah, glory, yeah, mercy, glory, yeah, mercy, yeah, glory, mercy, glory, mercy, glory, mercy, glory, mercy. Prosper as your soul prosper. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. Open up their eyes and see the world they know outside. I can close my eyes and see all that and way beyond. When these
these trials of life come heavy, and these obstacles get hard. Feeling like I need some answers, I just go and talk to God. I just go and talk to God when I'm looking for guidance. Need more than sight, need vision, need direction when I'm blinded. Then I start that conversation with that voice I hear inside me, and the conversation starts with a voice inside that sounds just like me when I talk to God. See God in anything. When I talk to God. When I talk to God. See God in anything. When I talk to God. God in anything. When I talk to God. See God in anything. Your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything. Your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. My daddy said don't ever assume, ask questions. It's ironic it was that advice that helped this song happen. It was also that advice that led me to my life's blessings. That same advice helped me make it through life's lessons. It was that advice that separates grown-ups away from children. That advice can be the difference from knowing or just believing. It was that advice that brought the gavel down on my decision of breaking the mental chains of these man-created religions. It's faith and belief, nonsense, the biggest scam ever. I hate to say it, I swear this one hell of a mental illness. We don't believe no other time. Why we do it with these religions? A fact that COVID's killing while all of these guys is missing. A lot of hide and seek and peekaboos. Guys playing games with you. I'ma just assume he ain't got no COVID miracles. Maybe he ran out after making the donkey talk, or them stories about a guy moonwalking on water tiles. This is simply a distraction to keep you away from you, and to look outside for a God when the God is inside of you. When you close your eyes at night to pray to that voice you talking to, when you ready to face the truth, you realize that that voice is you. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.